Yeah. All right, so let's get going. Thank you for those of you who have joined and are on time. I sincerely appreciate that. I know time is precious. You could have been anywhere else on this beautiful afternoon. So welcome to my webinar, How to Generate Passive Income Continuously, even if you have no experience or little starting capital. This is something that is passionate to me, and that is something I love sharing. And so I appreciate that you are going to listen to me here today. I've been sharing this also on numerous large events and stages, and usually there they play some introduction video for me, for those of you or many of you who might not know me. Now it's obviously online, so I'll just play you a very short introduction video about who's going to talk to you for the next 2 hours or so. In just these 2 or 2.5 days in the seminar, it's an incredible amount of knowledge that you're going to gain. Magic bank account, the money just keeps coming.
All of you can achieve that magic bank account too.
Wo leistet der Sieger auf den $40,000 with no money down?
Good morning, Emma! Make this money every hour, 24 hours a day. Who would be interested? No.
You can buy real estate with no money down.
Help through his very systemic and very logical step-by-step systems.
Looking for opportunities and making money for his customers.
This man is a good investment.
He always gives 100% to his program and to the success.
And all the results he gets are amazing.
An absolutely sensational program. I have learned so much from him.
He really wants to make a difference to people.
Utter precision about how to make someone else very wealthy.
Strategy is really amazing.
This was going to transform your life.
All right, welcome also to those of you who've just joined during the brief intro video. So we're going to start the actual webinar now. Just a quick disclaimer up front, which I'm legally bound to give you up front. Basically, all forms of investments carry risk, including losing money, so they're not suitable for everybody. This presentation is prepared for informational and educational purposes only, and is not investment advice. That's the short version of it. Let's get going. All right, you can, if you like, type into the chat box if you have joined on a Zoom link directly, or if you're on the live streaming, then probably you can't. So, but anyway, if you're on Zoom, feel free to type something which I can see into the chat box. So how many of you here would like to obtain an additional income stream that fills your bank account every month, after months, after months? Just sort of like money growing on trees, like this tree you see here, just keeps on coming and coming. I guess all of you like the idea, but is it really possible? Well, that's why we're here today. That's why you sign up. So what money, we don't really need money, but we want the things that money can do for you, right? So for example, spend more time with your family, or live another lifestyle, the one that you truly want, not maybe slogging in the office from 9 to, probably not 6, but 7, 8 or 9 sometimes, especially these days in I guess tougher times, or potentially even retire early and comfortably. I guess that's something that could appeal to many of you, and it's entirely possible, right? So I'll give you some inspiration, hopefully, here today on how to go about doing that. Because the reality for many of us is different.
either delinquent or in foreclosure. 5.1 million jobs have now been lost since the beginning of 2008. This has caused almost everyone to have great concern over their financial future. The bottom line is that most of us need help financially.
Yeah, and this obviously applies to pretty much every country, whichever country you're joining from, Singapore, Malaysia, or I don't know, we might have some other participants in here. Because this is, I think, when I saw this, I think this is what a lot of people are actually doing with their finances. Like this guy is trying to get rid of the water in his house. He's just, trying and trying and trying, putting in a lot of effort, but it's not really going anywhere, right? So if you're feeling stuck or worried about your financial future, you're in the right place in here. So once again, I thank you for being here, for being on time, joining my webinar, and I'll do everything in my power to make it worth it for you, for your time. Time is precious, and you could have been meeting your friends, you could have been sleeping or eating, but instead you showed up here. So I really, really thank you very much. How many of you like gifts, presents? For those of you who have shown up on time, which is you, and not the others who are late, or some of them never show up, well, that's a different story. But for those of you, I know you maybe not fully focused, you probably have another tab open in the background. So you might as well type in this link here, show.by, that's like same like bit.ly, familiar to WDW capital R. You have to type it in correctly. I can also type it into the chat box here for those of you who are on Zoom. So we can just copy and paste it. Of course, in the live stream, you would have to manually type it in. That's the link. So what this gives you is basically my property investing declarations. You see a small snippet in here, which help you to condition yourself, your mind for success. It's not for sale. You can only get this as a gift if I decide to gift it to you. So if you want to download it, then please feel free to download it, print it out, and condition your mind every day with it, because ultimately most of communication happens subconsciously and not consciously, if you know a little bit about psychology. Okay, I see some people saying thank you. Yeah, you're most welcome. I hope it's useful for you and you will enjoy it. So why is this webinar different from others that you might have attended? Well, what I'm about to share with you is proven. It's not a theory. It's something that I've been living, breathing for many, many, many years. And it's not something I learned in a book and now, try to make money out of sharing this. No, it's proven methodology. It's also very easy. You will later see people who succeeded in what I taught them, and you would have probably never thought they could, but anybody can. It actually works. I only teach what works, not theory, not something you need a finance degree for, but that everybody can do, including all of you, if you choose to do so. That's obviously your choice. These are some of my students that have taken my programs before, just some pictures. So by the end of this webinar that you have joined here today, you will discover 3 proven techniques how you can profit from property. And just be open-minded, because some of these are powerful, but they may be a little bit out of your comfort zone, because you might think when you hear property, things like it's expensive and it's risky or whatever, but I will demystify all of these and show you proven techniques how you can also profit from property. I'll also show you the 3 crucial keys to your success investing that you absolutely need. And these are not only property specific, also for other forms of investment that you might do, stocks or what have you. These apply just as well. And then I'm sharing with you the simple 3-step process that you can follow in order to make this whole thing work, right? So that's what we will discover in this webinar here. My goals here for you today is, number one, that you understand how you can generate passive income. That you realize that anybody can do it. It's not difficult at all. And I hope I can also motivate you to actually make it happen. Because as they say, nobody makes money from thinking about it. So I want to bring you on this road of success that you have just seen. So this webinar here is for you if you have little or no experience in property investing. It's not required. There's no talent required either. And maybe you don't know how to get started. If you already have 100 properties, then it's probably right. Then you know already. But if you have no experience, then you're in the right place. So don't worry. Or if you have invested in 1 or 2 properties before, but either it was not successful, or you couldn't scale it up, you got stuck after the first or second one. That's what actually happens to many investors. They don't know how to scale it up. I'll show you how you can. And number 3, if you're either an employee who works in the office for somebody else, or a small business owner, but too busy to actively look after your investment, and you would not mind having additional passive income in addition to your active income from your work or business, then this is for you what I'm about to share with you. The webinar is not for people who are totally unteachable, who think they know everything already, don't want to learn anything new. Well, then don't waste your time. If you're totally close-minded, you don't believe a thing other people say, that's your choice too. Or you're so rich already that you don't need any income. I mean, then fine, congratulations. But else, this is for you. If you stay until the end of this webinar, which is approximately 2 hours, you will have discovered a simple, proven 3-step process how you can generate passive income. You will know what to do to secure your financial future and have more time for the family. And you will also get a free copy of my book, The Property Apprentice, How to Earn While You Learn, which is, let me see how I can put screen. This book, you can, depending where you come from, in some countries you can buy it in the bookshops like Singapore, Malaysia. Else you can buy it on Amazon.com for about $25. But as an additional gift to you, if you stay until the end, I'll show you how you can get it for free. Because I like giving. How many of you know this guy? I don't mean me, I mean the other guy. You can type into the chat box if you know who that guy is. Yeah, exactly. Some of you recognize him. It's Robert Kiyosaki. He was the one who inspired me actually into property investing and making passive income and eventually teaching it as well. When my book came out, he was here in Singapore. So he was one of the very first one whom I had the pleasure of giving a copy to. He's sort of my mentor as well. So just a very brief introduction about myself, in case most likely you don't know me. I'm a basically full-time investor. I used to work in the banks before for 20 years, but I stopped about 7 years ago. I now basically teach programs, some corporate programs from my past, but mostly investment related. I'm a good investor. I think I'm a good teacher, but I'm not a professional speaker. I don't do all this, rah, 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 and, big sing and dance on the stage and what have you. If you're expecting that, well, I'm sorry, that's not me. What I can bring for you though is good, solid content, knowledge that's usable and helpful for you. And that gets you results. So that's what me. I've shared a stage with many famous people when I spoke at live events over the last couple of years, like Tony Robbins, Mary Buffett, Nick Vujicic, Patrick Liu, Dean Graziosi, and many more. Heng Jun. I know some of you might be skeptical, so actually I always say my best business card is not a printed one. I can't give you anyway, right? Because we are only online. Is Google. So this is how to spell my name correctly. JOCHEN-SIEPMANN. Feel free if you want to, if you're the skeptical type, to type in my name, see what comes up. Google has an algorithm that basically will bring up different things for each of you, because depending on the search history. But if you're the skeptical type, feel free to add Jochen Siebmann scam, spam, complaint, or whatever negative keyword you like behind it. And do let me know if you find anything. So far, I haven't found anything because nobody does complain about me. I also haven't had any cancellations, and I'm proud of that. Because, like I said, what I do is solid, it works. So what people see about me is this side, because that's out in the public. The lady on the upper left is Miss Thailand. The gentleman on the upper right is Kevin Green, the biggest UK property investor. He's got more than 1,000 properties, he says. I didn't verify that, but I believe him. And some of my events I spoke at to hundreds or even thousands of people that you see here. And the gentleman on the bottom right is Nico Rosberg, former Formula One race champion, also from Germany like myself. What you don't see, what they don't see, is the other side. It hasn't always been like this, right? I'm basically a normal guy. I come from a poor family back in Germany, but I've been here in Singapore for the last 25 years. Actually, Singapore citizen now. But when I was young and I grew up, for something as simple as a bar of chocolate, I had to save my pocket money for 3 or 4 weeks, even though it's maybe only $1 at that time, because we have no money, just enough to survive. Yes, we didn't starve, but more than that, no. That's why I also don't have any pictures for my use, because we couldn't even afford. Sorry, just brings back my memories. We couldn't afford a camera. We had no money for that. This is one of the first pictures of me. I'm the tall guy on the left. This is not my family. This is a family in England, which I visited for 3 months when I was a teenager to learn English. You still hear my German accent, but anyway, I hope you can understand. So after about 20 plus years in the banks, due to cost cutting, about one recession ago, now we have the next one, but one recession ago I got retrenched and I was not happy. That was maybe 7 years ago or so. So if you're about to retrench, already retrenched, I can feel for you. I know what it feels like. I fell into this big hole. I was used to income, but I thought about, what can I do? And that's when I started this journey to build up passive income for myself. And 2 years or 3 years later, I put it into a program. So I'm nothing special. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And I will show you how. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm glad to be with you today, even though it's only virtually, step by step. Like I said, I'm nothing special. I mean, I speak at events and what have you, because I get invited. But that doesn't mean much, right? The only thing that maybe sets me apart from a lot of people, I implement. When I learn something, I do it, I apply it. And a lot of other people I see, they learn it and then they shelve it, do nothing. and complain and nothing happens. Well, as they say, you can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. Right, so I was once in your shoes. If you currently have a financial challenge, or if you are retrenched, or if you hardly can pay the bills, I know exactly how it feels, what it's like, and it's not nice. And that's why I want to help people to get out of these situations. Right, I got retrenched, I had financial challenges, I didn't really know what to do, I felt lost, even a bit depressed, but like I said, I took action. That's what I did. How many of you know Tony Robbins? I think, yeah, type in 1 into the chat box if you know Tony. Okay, some of you do, right? Maybe not everybody. Yeah. All right. Thanks for your participation. Yeah. So Tony said, amongst many other great things, I highly respect Tony. I was once crewing for his event, actually. If you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the results that you want and copy what they do, and you will achieve the same results, right? You don't need to invent the next Facebook or TikTok to get a billionaire. There are some lucky guys, right? But that's not the general population. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do what works, see what works, and just copy what they do. That's what Tony said. That's what I did, and it worked for me. So it can work for you too. So what I did was basically I invested a little bit in my education. Even Benjamin Franklin, 200+ years ago, said an investment in knowledge pays the best investment. I took action on what I've learned, and I put my knowledge subsequently into a course. All these strategies that I'm teaching are something that I did for myself, so I know they work. And would it be okay that at the end of this webinar, I'll share a little bit about my course for those of you who might be interested to learn more and take action? If it's okay for you, please type in either yes or 1 or okay, or please do, or whatever you like to allow me to just share a little bit about my course. That would be lovely. Sharon said, okay, great, sure, I'll do that at the end. I'll give you some solid content first that I promised you. So I always keep my promises. So if you look at statistics, what made the wealthy people wealthy? You see this graph here on the left. Maybe it's a bit small depending how big or small your screen size is on a mobile. You probably cannot read it, but the big bar on the left is property, followed by finance, then industry and inheritance. Although inheritance is not really industry, but it made a lot of people rich too, right? Because their parents or their family work. But 80% of people who are wealthy became so due to property. Maybe it's not well known, and there's so many different strategies. And you know, even some of the rich business people here in Singapore, they might be well known for Milo because they sell Milo. But from this profit of Milo, they invest in property and make more money with property than with Milo. But they are just known for Milo. But in reality, it was property which made them more money, right? So that's why it's such a fascinating topic, and I love property, and many other people do as well. Why property? 8 key reasons for that. Number 1, it's real, right? It means it's something physical. You can touch it, feel it, etc. It's not like money in the bank, which is just a number on a sheet of paper, or like in 2008, where the banks created products that even they themselves didn't understand and caused the financial crisis that time. Property is real. It always performs well. You can look over the last 1,000 years. In the long run, property performs. There might be a year or two where it doesn't, but in the long run, always does, because there's always demand, right? Do you think we are getting more or getting less people on this planet? Always more, right? So there's always demand. You only have to find the right place where the demand is. Obviously, not all of them. But property gives you full control. You're the CEO of your property, right? If you buy stocks, like what was the other one? The Wirecard, right? In the German company, if you bought Wirecard stocks and then suddenly you find out the CEO or CFO cooked the books and a few billions are missing, nothing you can do. You're not in control, thus the share drops by 90%, gone. Property, you can enhance it later. I will show you a little bit how. If you're in control, you can raise the value of your property yourself, even without the market doing anything. And why I personally love property is you have a passive income, right? You work once and the income keeps coming. You can also make other people pay for it. Later on, I'll show you one of the techniques. I can't show you all today, but one of the techniques how you can make other people pay for a property. Because it's real, it also hedges against inflation. You look at all these countries that have a lot of inflation, their property price also shoots up very fast because it's real. It's not paper money, right? And you can leverage on it. So these are some of the key reasons why property is good, but people have misconceptions. Really, they believe it's true, but it's actually a misconception. The three most common ones I hear all the time are these three here. Number one, it's expensive and I can't afford it. And then most people, they leave it there. And they don't even try to make an effort to find out. But let me ask you, expensive compared to what? And what if it wasn't expensive? Or people say, it's too risky. And therefore, even I can afford it, I don't want to do it. What if I can show you how you can minimize your risk and it's not risky? And I was one of these people also myself who thought in the past debts are bad and are scared of it. I remember the story when I was after my school, I did a national service and then joined a bank because I always loved numbers and money and everything. And I saved a little bit of money, and from that money, I bought my first property. At that time in Germany, we could take 90% loan, so 10% I had to save. When I signed this mortgage, I was really, really scared. Oh my God, so many debts, because that was my mindset. But today, I'll show you later how I changed my mind and why, how you absolutely don't have to be scared of it, and if you do it correctly. Because there are two types of debts, good debts and bad debts. This comes not from me, but from my mentor, Robert Kiyosaki, who been teaching this for decades, I think for 3 decades or something, he's been saying this. So what's the difference between a good debt and a bad debt? Let's take one example, a car loan. You buy a new car, just for illustrative purposes, I just take round numbers, who cares which model and what have you. You take 100,000 car loan. Interest, let's say 7%, so it costs you $7,000 per year in interest. I'm not counting the capital because the capital is repayment, is their own money. It's not a cost per se. It's a cash flow, but no cost. How much is your return? 0. How much is your yield? 0. So how much loss you make? 7,000 a year. Right? That's what we call bad debt, because the debt doesn't make you any money. However, if you buy a property that otherwise you couldn't afford with cash, but with the loan you can. And forget about the property is only 100,000. I know it in countries like Singapore, Malaysia, you can't get, but in other countries you can, or else just add 1 0 in the end. It's still the same, right? Just for interest rate, today very low, but conservatively I put 3%. In reality, you can get below, depends on currency, right? In Singapore dollar below 2, in Europe 1%, but anyway, I put 3% here, so my cost is $3,000. Again, only interest, not the repayment, because that's paying back their own money. So if you can get 7% yield, it means you minus off your 3% interest and you make $4,000 per year. So that type of debt is good, because this debt makes you money. Without this debt, you wouldn't have earned the $4,000 per month. Divide by 12, let's say $350 per month extra in your pocket. So remember, debts that cost you money are bad. But debts that make you money are good. I love good debts. And if you ever want to become financially free out of your own initiative without inheritance, you need to borrow money. As simple as that, right? No way around it. But don't be afraid. As long as you do it correctly, which I'll show you later, there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Likewise for the risk. Mark Zuckerberg, now maybe he's a little bit in the headlines for the wrong reasons recently, but anyway, he's a billionaire and he built up Facebook, right? He said, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risk, right? So you have to take some risk, but I agree that it should be minimized. And that's why we have a risk management process. That is also part of my program, how we can identify risks, assess them, evaluate them, and minimize them, eventually control and monitor it so that your risk is very low. You cannot say there's no risk, there's no such thing as no risk. If anybody tells you an investment has no risk, please run away as quickly as you can, because they're lying. It's impossible, right? Even in DBS Bank, DBS is one of the safest banks in the world. But if you put money there, it's very low risk, but you still have a counterparty risk, it's low, which is the bank, but you have a currency risk. It's still in a particular currency. Another currency might be much better than this currency you put your money in, right? So risk is always present, but you can manage it, and it's pretty easy to do that if you know how. Right, so don't be afraid of risk, manage it. As long as your reward is much greater than risk, no need to be afraid. Right, so I have processes to do that as part of my course. That I'll just show you a screenshot here. One part of risk management is also doing due diligence, right? Your homework before you buy. This is like a picture from the Street Smart University. They asked some financial experts. We see some people here like Adam Koo, Sean Sear, Jonathan Tan, Patrick Mew, and others. I'm here on the top, slightly to the right with the yellow tie. It's me. And my reply to them was, the best financial advice I've ever received was, do your due diligence properly. And ever since, you know, I mean, that's a big focus of mine. And if you do it due diligence correctly, there won't be surprises in your investment journey. And that goes beyond property. If you buy stocks, shares, or other investments, same thing. Do your due diligence before you buy to avoid any surprises. Right, so this is also a screenshot from my course, due diligence calculator. A lot of people also struggle with calculations when they want to evaluate different properties or investments against one another. I've made it very simple. You see the screenshot here, or it's an Excel spreadsheet. All you have to do is enter a few numbers into an Excel spreadsheet. If you can do that, then you can do calculations. Very easy, right? So I've done the heavy lifting for you already. And I know most people are not comfortable with calculations. And but entering a few numbers in an Excel spreadsheet, that anybody can do. Really easy. Right, and people think probably expensive. I show you some examples from my inbox, which I get because I've built up a network of people who specialize in this kind of thing, giving good opportunities, great properties that are better than the normal market properties. Look at this one, Liverpool, for example, £32,000. Or this one, even better, it's in a smaller town, more than 18,000. Would you have thought you can buy a property for 18,000 pounds? It's like 25,000 US or 30,000 Sing. No, right? But you can. This one can even pay full cash, and the agent says 20% yield. I don't believe it. If I do my due diligence, I probably would find it only gives you 14. Hey, but 14%, isn't that like 10 times, no, 20 times better than what the bank gives you? Think about that. So what if instead of thinking property is expensive and you can't afford it, you think it's not expensive, but I can afford it. Instead of thinking risky, it's not risky if you manage it, and therefore you do want to do it. And if you know that debts are not necessarily bad, they can be, but good debts are good, so you don't be scared of it. So this was just an introduction. So now I'm gonna show you the first technique, proven technique, how you can benefit from property. Just give me a second. I'll just take a sip of water before I do that. Okay. So what is the number one factor that you need to consider when you buy a property? Anybody knows? You can type into the chat box if you're on Zoom. Yes, exactly. Location. For those of you, right, location is most critical. But you have to find probably the right location, which I can also teach you, but that's not the point here. My point is a different one. Let's assume we have two properties, A and B, which are in the same location. So location is not a factor in this comparison here anymore. So we have property A here, rundown, smelly carpets, gray walls, horrible. And we have property B, nice, shiny, beautiful, new, or at least renovated. Very nice. Now, as an investment, not as your own, which one would you rather buy, A or B? Please type into the chat box, would you buy A or would you buy B? Just give you a second. Huh? Okay, yeah, some type A, some type B. There's no right or wrong answer. But let me explain to you my thinking, right? If you talk about property B, it's nice, shiny, new, you don't have to do anything, but who's gonna reap the profit from that? Probably the seller, right? Because they've bought it or built it and they sell it to you for profit. So you're paying someone else their profit. But as an investor, you want to be the one to get paid and make the profit, right? So A probably gives you a better opportunity for that because the price, I mean, it might be only 10% of probably B, right? Or 20 in the same location. Like I said, location or a factor. So these are kind of opportunities that investors think, and then obviously you need to spend money to renovate it before, but then you can sell it for profit or you can rent it out for passive income, whatever you choose. But I would definitely buy property A. So this is also my strategy number 6 of my class. I have 14 of them in total. Strategy number 6 is called BMV, which stands for buy below market value. So what we're doing in this strategy is, as the name says, we look for properties which are not sold, whatever this location in this market sells for, but way below that. And I don't mean a few $1,000s or 5% below that. I mean way below market value, 20, 30% kind of below at least. This one you saw just now, probably more than 30 because it's such a bad condition. So let me ask you a question. I know it's difficult on a webinar, but I just want to engage you a bit, right? And get you thinking. At which point of time, when we buy and sell a property, do we make money? What do you think? Yeah, many of you say when you sell, well, from a pure cash flow perspective, of course, you're right. But from a conceptual perspective, we should make money when we buy the property, right? How do we make money when we buy? See above. We buy below market value. If you buy 100,000 property for 70,000, you've made $30,000 profit on day one on paper, right? It's not realized in the bank account yet, but on paper, you've made $30,000 profit the day you bought. And that's why we always look as a good investor for buy below market value properties. It doesn't have to be as bad as the property A that I showed you just now. It was just for an example, but we look for below market value. Now, this can be related to the property itself because of the condition, but it can be also related to other factors. It might be in a good condition and you still get it below market value. So what we do in this technique is we have a structured way of finding what we call politically correct, motivated sellers. In plain English, if I tell you what motivated means, it's desperate. They are desperate to sell their property. So if you're desperate to sell your property and you're this motivated, politically correct, motivated seller, who are they? Who would sell their property 20–30% below market value? The desperate ones. These could be people who get divorced, for example, right? They have one house, they cannot agree who gets it or cannot afford or whatever, they have to sell it quickly. Then you're the one who buys it. For some people, for whatever reason, cannot afford to pay the mortgage anymore. They might have lost their job, they might have over leveraged, whatever the reason might be. There are such people that, unfortunately enough, to have to get their property auctioned off. And you see, in the auction, what happens is the bank just wants their money back. So if the property is worth 600,000 and the borrower owes the bank 400,000, they will put it up to auction for 400,000 because they don't want to make profit. If you can buy it for 400, fantastic. You made 200,000 profit. The person on the outside, tough one. If, of course, in the auction, then it goes to 450, 480, 500, it's still okay. You're getting a $600,000 property for 500,000. So how do we find out? Somebody's asking. Yes, that's a good question. There are ways how to build up networks of people who can tell you who's getting divorced, whose property is getting to auction, etc., which I will also teach in my course, right? So that in the end, you don't have to spend much effort in finding them. They will find you. Or people who simply broke their piggy bank and, they just, it's not forced sale by the bank, but they sell out of their own initiative. But I'll show you later some concrete, real examples how I've done that and how you can do it too. All right, so would it be powerful? And that answers the questions some of you just asked here in the chat box. Thank you for the question. Would it be powerful and make things easier if you didn't have to search for these opportunities for these motivated sellers, but they came right to you? They came looking for you. This is my email inbox that almost, not every day, but let's say 4 times a week, at least I get good opportunities into my mailbox, and as much as I would like, I cannot buy new property every 3 days. So there are enough opportunities for other investors as well. Like, for example, it might be you, the next one. I'm getting great deals all this time. This is my email inbox. I'll just show you a few of those. For example, this one here is a 6-bedroom HMO. HMO means house of multiple occupancy, 20% yield. This one, if you mortgage it, 27%. I focus a lot on the UK for my own investments. That's why you see a lot of UK examples here, but same works in any country really. I just like UK because it gives very good rental yields. And this one here, right, 110,000 purchase price, 16,000 rental per year. That's like 16% or so. This is a different strategy that also teach how to transfer commercial property to residential, and then the valuation, everything changes, so we can make good money out of this strategy as well. This is another example you can get here. This similar to the one I bought recently. I'll show you later. £500 per month. This one here, I'm not sure. I would verify that, but the agent claims 63% below market value. A bit suspicious to me, but let me show you some auction deals, for example, here. These are more here in Singapore. You get it pretty often, and I'm quite sure in the near future, this is a commercial one, bank sale, Rivervale Crest. All these will be sold below market value because I said the bank doesn't want to make a profit, they just want their money back. So it depends how much the bank is being owed, and obviously then other people bid for the property during the auction as well. You're not the only one. But these are just some examples. So now let me give you a real example of my property, what I did, how I did it, the numbers, everything, right? So just to prove to you, this is not a theory, this is real. So this is duplex in Salford, UK, near to Manchester, which is one of my preferred areas, Manchester. The right side of the house that has the red van standing in front of it here in picture, that's what I bought in 2016. The open market value at the time was about £220,000, and it had 6 bedrooms at a time. Was an old guy, and he kind of his mortgage deal ran out, and he didn't want to be, you know, he just sold cheaply. So about £175,000 I had to pay for it, which is 21% below market value, or I saved £45,000 basically below market value. A little bit of stamp duty, legal fees for a lawyer. So I paid in total about, which is what you have to look at, by the way, not the purchase price, but the total acquisition cost is 183. So I totally renovated it, ripped out everything, and turned it into a 7-bedroom house of multiple occupation, which means I don't rent out one house, I rent out 7 different rooms individually. I have a manager to do that. I don't want to spend so much time, right? Which might be one of your concerns. Oh, how to do that? Just get a good property manager in, and they handle everything for you. So this 7-bedroom HMO, I'm getting approximately £3,000 to £3,500 per month in rental. Sometimes one of the room might be vacant and this or that. So it fluctuates a little bit, but it's around there. Each room gives about £500 per month in this area. So if I have 6 rooms, I get 3,000. If all 7 are occupied, I get 3,000 for it. Running costs about 10%. Then my management agent takes 10% of that as well. So net, I have about £2,500 per month, which is a yield of about 12 to 14%. 12 if it's not full, 14 if it's full. And when I refinanced this property after it was fully occupied, the official valuer in UK is called VIX. This is a certified valuer. They give proper valuations. It's not just a guesstimate by the bank and all this. It's a proper real valuation I had to pay £300 for. Was valued at 280,000. Right? And the best part is, which I didn't put in the slide, I subsequently refinanced it at 6% of 280,000, which is 168,000. How much did I pay? 175. So I got almost all my money back. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is. Yeah, you're right. So this is actually my strategy number 3, HMO, because it simply has a higher yield than if you rent out a house to one single tenant. And I pretty much got all my money back, and I still have the income of £3,000 minus my financing cost, which is 500 per month only, because in UK you can do interest-only loans. So I have a pretty good net cash flow, in other words, known as passive income, because I don't do anything. I get about £2,000 per month net. What you see here is before financing costs, so you minus off £500 financing cost of that, so it's about £2,000, let's say, which is about 3,000 US or 3,005 Singapore dollar, whatever currency you're thinking in, which is not bad, I think. Other people have to work full time for that kind of money. So then people always ask me, Jochen, what if the price goes down? I say, firstly, I collect £2,000. The price go down, I still collect £2,000. But you see, this is like a price index of a property index. Sometimes price goes down, like in the financial crisis, or this is a Singapore specific graph here because of the cooling measures you see here in this red shadow. What if the price goes down? They always ask me. So my answer is this. Firstly, I collect the rent, yes. But secondly, if you talk about the price itself, if you presumably bought a property just before the global financial crisis here on the peak, and then the price went down, yeah, if you wait long enough, it goes up. But what did I teach you just now? You don't buy at the market price. You buy below market value. Then you would have bought it at this price here, where the red arrow with the heart is, instead of where the blue arrow with the number 1 is. Right? And if you bought 20% below market value, even at the peak, you didn't lose much because the price went down about 25%. Can you stomach a 5% loss for a short period of time? Probably yes. Else you probably shouldn't do it. But eventually the price went up. Well, if you buy here, number 2, right? You also don't buy at market value. You buy below market value, which is around here, this level. And then the price goes up the curve, and you also make money on capital appreciation when you bought on day 1, plus your rental income. That's the beauty of the strategy that I'm sharing here with you. So remember, when is the best time to buy? Make money when we buy, not when we sell. But when is the best time to buy a property? People always ask me too. Right now, the economy is not good. Should I buy now? Some people prefer to wait later, until when? Until the price went up again? No, actually, in a bad economy is even better than a good economy to buy property. All this, not all, I can say all, almost all at least, people who bought property in the financial crisis when it was down there, right, at the bottom. Even you cannot time the bottom. Even if you bought slightly before, slightly after, but most investors who bought at the time made money. Only capital plus rent. So when is the best time to buy? Now. Always now. Of course, the best time would have been 20 years ago, but I can't buy 20 years ago. And there's no need to wait for the future either. So the question really is not when to buy property, but where to buy property, right? Because at any given time, there's always a good market and there's always a bad market. What you have to do is simply to find which one is good now, right? Maybe a couple of years ago, Malaysia was a very good market. I bought Malaysian properties too. Right now, I would probably not anymore. Their currency was no good. They got political turmoil now, and the pricing is not good anymore. And now they have capital gains tax, so it has changed, but it's okay. Then I don't buy Malaysia, I buy another place. Like for me now, it's actually the last couple of years, UK and some other markets that I favor. Maybe one day it's not UK anymore, but another country it is fine for me. It's no problem. Or here in Singapore, if you don't have any yet, it can also be done. It's no problem, right? So best time is always now. It only depends where. So just show you a quick case study here from Ian from Australia.
I'm a technical whiz. I honestly can say that he has utter precision about how to make someone else very wealthy, in my opinion. I really think that his wisdom in going about selection of properties, of working out the financial aspects and a lot of nitty-gritty detail has a really high caliber. I've trained with many people and I've found his work up with the best of them. I think you can trust him, and I certainly would trust Johan with my money and with my selection of property. I found him an excellent, trustworthy person with a very clear.
And another one from Dr. Lim here from Malaysia.
Dr. Lim, you attended my property investing class for this weekend. So how did you find the class?
I find it it's very useful. If you're a beginner and and you're not sure about how to invest, you can't find a better course than this. I've been investing before coming to this course. I've been investing here and there, but really in a very blind way. But after going through this course, I've learned the strategy, I've built up my confidence, and now I'm more excited to invest in my first property the right way.
Okay, great. Okay. What was your number one takeaway from this class this weekend?
The strategies, and because I have a special interest in investing in Britain, and Johan is really very experienced in this field, and I've taken away a lot of tips from him in this particular country that I want to invest in.
Thank you. And would you recommend this class to your friends or others?
Oh, definitely, yes.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lim.
Okay, so that's what some people said. So remember, proven technique number one is my strategy number 6. We buy below market value. There are structured processes how you can find such properties, how they come to you instead of you have to look for them, so that we make money the day we buy. This gives us also certainty that our transaction is profitable and it also greatly reduces our risk, right? If we buy 20% below market value, let's say, like I did in Salford, even if the property price drops by 20%, I'm still basically neutral, right? So much less risk. As I mentioned earlier, there's no such thing as zero risk, doesn't exist, but much less risk, and we don't have to worry because we already made profit on day one. So that brings me to the next technique, proven technique number 2 that I would like to share in this webinar here with you today. Property with no money. How many of you, when you just hear a sentence, think it's not possible, it's a myth, or even think it's a scam, it's fake? How many of you think that? If you think it's possible, type in yes in chat box, or if you think it's not or it's a scam, then type no or scam or myth or fake or whatever you want in, just to get a feel of what people are thinking. Okay, yeah, some like this, some like that. Okay, so I'm not selling you any property here. I'm not selling you any investment opportunity that makes you guaranteed 200% per month. And I mean, all these are indeed often scams. But is it possible to benefit from property even if you don't have money? Yes, absolutely is. And I'll show you how. And I'll also show you some examples of my students, how they have done it too. This is simply a technique. Actually, I have 5 different techniques in my class how to do that. I'll share one of those with you here right now. And I'll give you a case study of this gentleman. He's also from Germany. So he's got a little bit of a German accent. He's at the time was 77 years old. He had no experience in property. He had also no money, and he's 77, so the bank will not give him a loan. Who do you think this guy can make money in property? Probably not, but listen to his story because of his strong accent. I've subtitled it, so in case you cannot understand it, you can just read. It's really inspiring, so just watch this. It's about 2 minutes plus brief video what he has to say.
Last year in April I came to Singapore. There I have been introduced to the Property Apprentice system of Jochen. After my returning to Germany, I had time to study the system, became very interested, and it changed my mindset so I could see property offers with totally different eyes as I saw it before. I saw an advertisement in a bank about a bigger house that has to be renewed, and I thought I could manage the project. Went there, asked it for the information, had a plan about it, went to the bank with a plan to ask for the loan. They said, my dear guy, you are much too old with your 77 years. You have to look for an investor. Bring us an investor. At that time, I already planned my next trip to Far East, and so I had to hurry to find the investor, which I did. And he worked on my idea during my holiday in Far East. And after that, we spoke with the bank, the investor, and me, and we made a new plan what to do with the house, and we needed architects and whatever is needed. We got everything together, and at the 19th of December, it means about 4 months later, everything could be signed in front of a notary, and so the whole project lasted 4 months to be finished. It came up with a profit for me of 55,000 euro. That is about more than $80,000. My investment was a very, very big one, several cups of coffee. And I didn't have more money before, and therefore I had to solve that problem this way, what I did. And I'm grateful about my change, of the mindset. And with this money now I'm able to do charity, new traveling, and investing in some profitable different projects. And so I only can recommend, if you want to do something similar, read Jochen's, study Jochen's Property Apprentice system.
Yeah, so he made 55,000 euro, which is about $60,000 or 86,000 Singapore dollars in this transaction, which you probably wouldn't have think is possible, right? His investment was a few cups of coffee, of course, some time. He's a pensioner, so has the benefit of having time. But one thing he said is, and you know, which is also my personal philosophy, and I think it's really important. You know, some people, they hit an obstacle and they stop, but he just found a way to solve the problem, right? And as long as you're persistent and creative, you can solve every problem and you can still make money. This is just one of the ways. I have many different other ones, but I just wanted to show you this because I find it very inspiring. And he also said one thing, that he looks at property with different eyes, and that's also one of the things, right, for me too. Previously, when I saw a rundown old property like the one I showed you earlier on, the property A, I thought it's just an old rundown property. When I see this kind of property today, I think, hey, great opportunity. Let's see who owns it. Maybe they want to sell it, right? So it just depends on the way how you think about it. So if he can do it, you can do it too. I'll show you how, step by step. And if you take action instead of excuses, you can make money too. So now, a lot of things comes, which he also said, down to your beliefs, your personal beliefs. I'm not talking about religion, religious beliefs, but your other beliefs. In this case, money beliefs. How many of you think it's easy to make money? Type in easy into the chat box. And how many of you think it's difficult to make money? Then type in difficult. Or you can also type number 1 for easy or number 2 for difficult if you don't want to type such long word. Okay, thank you, right? So whatever it is that you believe is right. It's right only for you though. If you believe it's quite easy to make money, then it will be easy for you. But if you believe it's difficult to make money, then it will be difficult. So all you have to do is, not all, but one of the things you have to do is to change your mindset from difficult to easy. It's like, you know, this elephant here, this real picture is a bit blur, but it's, you know, why doesn't this elephant run away, even though he's only attached to a string on his foot that he easily could break? Why? Because it has been conditioned when he was young. When he was young, they put a big chain around his foot and elephant tried to run away. Doesn't work because of the chain. Elephant trying to run again. Doesn't work. Again, doesn't work. Again, doesn't work. Again, until he gives up. He doesn't try anymore. He knows, chain around my foot means I cannot run away. That's when it's good enough to use a string, because in his mind, he will think, I cannot run away. Something my foot can. But isn't it the same for us human beings? Quite often we have literally, we're handcuffed by such a thin string like depicted in this picture here, that we could easily break if we only wanted to, but we don't. Because we are, like the elephant, conditioned. Conditioned by our parents, conditioned by society, conditioned by friends, conditioned by the media. But what if you just broke this chain and did something differently? Again, I like to quote Tony, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself in your head. That you can't do something, that it's not possible to buy property, that you can't generate passive income, that you can't achieve this goal, that whatever. Because that's what you told yourself, or somebody else conditioned you, maybe your parents, maybe somebody else, your teachers in school, I don't know. But if you keep telling yourself the same story, you will get the same results. If you start telling yourself a different story, then you can get different results. It's a little bit out of your comfort zone, so I would like to, even though in a webinar this is slightly challenging, but I would like to make a small little exercise with you to get you out of your comfort zone, just to see how it feels. Now, what I would like you to do, I can't see you, so I'm not sure if you follow, but just fold your hand like in the picture, right? Like this. As for the Christians, it would be as if you're praying, but it's not about religion. What I want, yeah, please do that now. Okay, so what I wanted to do is to take note which thumb is on top. In my case, it's the right one. Some of you might be right, and some of you might be left side. It doesn't matter. I just want you to take note which one it is. Now unfold your hands, and now consciously make an effort to put the other thumb on top. So just now it was the right one, now do the left one. Or just now was the left one, now do the right one. And notice how it feels. It feels uncomfortable, right? Because you're not used to it, it's strange. You're now out of your comfort zone. But if you do this 100 times, it doesn't bother you anymore because you're used to it. So you have now expanded your comfort zone. And you can do something that up to 1 minute ago you couldn't do. At least not this discomfort, right? So what I'm about to teach you next, that's why I did this exercise to frame you a little bit, might be a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but just keep an open mind, please. It works, it's easy, and it's not a scam or whatever, right? So even though it's maybe out of your comfort zone. So this is a real example how I personally did a no money down deal, and you could copy the same too if you wanted to. In this case, how it works was, and there's different ways, this is only one of them. But in this case, what we did was we found a property developer with a good discount or rebate from the seller, who was the developer in this case, and the rest we financed with a mortgage or otherwise. So the key is we leverage on other people's money. Now, what does this mean? So this is the house. It was a bungalow in Malaysia. That time I still bought Malaysian property when I did this deal. So we got, because we bought a few units from the developer as a group of investors, we got a 30% discount from the developer. However, the contract stated the full amount, so the bank gives you 70% loan of that. And in Malaysia, that's totally normal. In Singapore, this is illegal. You cannot do that. The contract has to state the discounted price in Singapore, but in Malaysia, it can state the full price. It's totally fine. Even the banks know it, but they close both eyes. Malaysia, boleh. Anyway, so I had to pay 30% less than the original price, which means 70%, right? And I got a 70% bank loan. So how much did I pay? Nothing, right? Because 30% paid by developer and 70% by bank. I pay nothing. And that was a real no money down deal. Nothing wrong with it, nothing fishy, no scam, just no money. And it doesn't always work. You have to obviously find the right property with the discount, and you have to be mindful of the legal framework. For example, Singapore cannot, Malaysia can, or other countries also. You have to look whether it's possible or not. But like I said, this is only one example. I'll give you another one. This is a Thailand property I bought. The one up here with the red arrow. Now, the valuation of this property was about 3.8 million baht, which is $115,000 approximately. And I bought it for 2.7 million baht, which is $86,000 approximately. It gives, based on the lower amount of 86,000, a 9% rental yield. At the original price, it would have been probably 6 to 7% rental yield, which is in Thailand quite achievable, 6-7%. But I got 9 because I got it for 20. It's actually 30%, almost 30% below market value, which was my proven technique number 1, right? So here I combine technique 1 with technique 2, below market value and no own money. So how did I buy this with no own money? Now tell me, if you have money sitting in the bank, and right now you get 0.5 or so, let's say, % interest. Maybe you get 1%, whatever, doesn't matter, but low interest rate. And I told you, you can co-invest into this property with me. You get half, I get half. We split the profit from the below market, so that is 15 plus 14, $29,000 immediate profit. We split half-half. The rental is split half-half. So you get 9% on your money instead of 1 or 0.5, plus you get immediate profit. How many of you would find it at least interesting enough to look into it? You don't have to say commit to it, but how many would say at least you would be interested to listen to the details? Okay, thanks for some of your comments. Great, appreciate that. Thank you. So that's what I did here. So I found somebody who said yes to my proposal. We went ahead, bought this property for 86K. My co-investor, he basically paid $43,000 to get his share of the property. Now he gets 9% on the $43,000 instead of 0.5%. So he paid half. And how about the other half, you might ask? I got from a bank. I took a mortgage. In Thailand, a bit more expensive, so the interest cost me 6% in interest cost. But since I get a rent yield of 9%, I'm still fine. And eventually also the mortgage will run off. Actually, it will run off end of this year, and then I get my part of the rent clear of any charges, full passive income. And how much money did I invest to buy this property here? 0, right? Because bank paid half, investor paid half. I'm happy to have the property. My co-investor is happy to get half of the profit and 9% rental yield. And the bank is happy that they made business through my loan. Everybody's happy, and that's how we do it, right? It's a win-win-win situation and not a scam. And as simple as that. Of course, the devil is in the details. Don't try it alone. You have to know what you're doing, how to find these opportunities, which I can teach you, how to evaluate them, which is part of my course. Of course, you got to find the right investor. You know, if that guy was a small trouble, then anything else later is also not a good proposal, even though you make money, right? But it can be done. That's the message. Yeah, can be done. Right. So let me share now, which I promised in the beginning, what are 3 crucial keys to your success when it comes to investing. These are very, very important factors And you must have all of them, but they're not all equally important in terms of percentage weight. So this is what I call the wealth formula. And it consists of 3 things. Firstly, you got to find the right mentor, somebody who is experienced, has done it, can help you overcome the obstacles and guide you along the journey. It could be me, it could be someone else. If you, for example, stock investing, the same thing applies. You ask me about stocks, I don't know, ask somebody else. Then the right method, right? That's what I've been teaching here or teaching my class, exactly the step-by-step method for all the different strategies that you can deploy. You just got to follow method because it's a predictable process, so that removes the guesswork, and at the end you know what is the outcome, rather than you just anyhow also can try out, right? That usually ends up in disaster. And the last one, which most investment trainers, including myself, agree is probably the most crucial out of the 3 crucial ones, is your mindset, right? Like we discussed earlier on, you have been conditioned that maybe debts are bad, or maybe that there's no such thing as no money property. There is. I've just shown you 2 examples of my own portfolio. It's entirely possible. But if you change your mindset from cannot to can, it's possible. And that's also, actually, I'm very proud in my program, unlike many other investment programs, I put also focus on mindset and psychology. Because even if you have a mentor, even if you have the right method, if you don't do it because something up there tells you, your little voice, not to do it and don't take action, it's not going to work, right? It only works if you apply and not if you think about it. This is my favorite quote of all times, by the way, from Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motor Company. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. Which is kind of similar what I said earlier on also, right? If you think it's hard to make money, it's hard to make money. If you think it's easy to make money, it's easy. That's more or less how I adopted what Henry said. So if you change your way of thinking from I can't do this, I can't make money, I can't sing, I can't pass the exam, I can't get a promotion, or whatever it is. If you change your thinking to simply how can I? How can I get a promotion? How can I find property? How can I solve this problem? Oh, it doesn't work this way? You try another way. Or how else can I do it? There's no such thing as I can't. Just how can I? Then things look very different. And even mentors have mentors. These are some of mine. Robert, you already know. T.F. Ecker, terminal mindset, and a few other ones, right, who helped me too. So I'll just show you a little bit more case studies. This is Vincent from Singapore.
Hello everyone, I'm Vincent. I get to know Johan, and his technique and strategy is really amazing because he has shown me how I can actually buy property with 0 money down, refinance it, and still have a huge gain after that. So that was one amazing technique that I never thought was possible, but he has shown me that it can be done, and not only in a specific country, but it can be done worldwide. Thank you.
And one more from Katarina from the Czech Republic.
Hi Katarina, you've just attended the Property Apprentice seminar this weekend. So how did you find the seminar?
So thank you, Johan, first for having such a great course for us. We really enjoyed it. We really learned a lot. As a person with very little experience with property investment, I found this is a great introduction to the to property investment, and I learned a whole lot about from all of your examples from investment cross-border. I learned a lot about possibilities to invest in different parts of the world, and I definitely look forward to putting all of these in practice very soon.
Okay, great. What was your number one takeaway from this class?
Takeaway is to be brave, not to fear, to have the mindset, the method, and a good mentor to go into property investment.
Would you recommend this class to your friends or others?
Definitely I will, and I will advertise it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll show you all these case studies, by the way, because I wanted to hear from other people what they say, not only for me, right? So you have seen now proven technique number 2, how to buy or how to profit from property with no money. I've shown you some of my real life examples. You've had another example with the gentleman from Germany who did it a different way because he couldn't buy, but he still found a solution to make a big profit. Also, there's many different ways that I also teach in my class, because it's not a myth, it's not a scam, it's fact that it can be done. You can do it too, and it works if you just know how. It doesn't need any talent, it just needs the right technique, which is what I'm teaching. So proven technique number 3 is, I call it selling without selling to generate more passive income. This applies if you have a property. So don't switch off if you don't have one, because what I showed you earlier, that how you can buy with no money or little money or below market value and what have you, then eventually you'll have one. And if you have one, then a lot of investors, they find it difficult to scale up, to make it bigger. And that's what I will show you how you can do that in this technique number 3, to generate more passive income, to increase your property portfolio so that the money keeps coming and coming and coming, like in this water tap. Then you can increase your portfolio like on the right. So I always say, you know who's my best friend? No, not money. Leverage. Leverage. Because with leverage you can achieve a lot. You shouldn't over leverage, but without leverage you can't really get anywhere also. Right? Leverage means, in case you don't know the word, it means magnify or enhance something, right? So if you then magnify or enhance your own money that you have with other people's money, how much money do other people have? If you add all people together, and people doesn't mean people only, it means banks and other institutions as well. They have basically unlimited money, right? And if you have a good proposal to them, they're very happy to give their money, because then it's a win-win situation. So leverage my best friend. And this is very easy. Now, just now I showed you a 77-year-old man, which was my oldest student. These 2 kids were my youngest students, because this is really so easy. Kids play almost. Just listen to what these sound like 30 seconds of 2 kids have to say.
So these are my youngest participants ever. So how did you find this class?
It was worth it with my money and time.
Okay, and what did you learn?
I learned about how to invest in property and the different kinds of property.
All right, how old are you?
I'm 13.
13 years old, great, thank you. James, so what did you get out of this weekend?
I've learned a lot of things about investing and also about mindset. And this course is really enjoying, and I really recommend to everyone to attend this course.
All right, thank you.
All right, so if 13-year-old kids can understand what I've been teaching them, you sure can too. Now, can these kids buy a property? No, but they have the knowledge. And who can buy the property? The parents, right? So there's always a solution to everything. Now let me show you what is the power of leverage and compounding. Compounding basically means we invest and don't spend the money, but maybe we invest. And Warren Buffett, I'm sure all of you know him, he once said, the ones who understand compounding benefit from it. The ones who don't, they pay for it. And he's absolutely right. So compounding combined with leverage is very powerful. Let's take a long time horizon here. 20 years, I've made these graphs long. So if you have 100,000, whatever, dollars, pounds, euros, wherever you come from, and put in the bank at 1%, and you compound, reinvest the interest again. How much do we have after 20 years? Well, a whopping 123,000. Wow. Now you minus off inflation, actually you have negative in terms of purchase power. But in leaving inflation aside, you still only have 123,000 after 20 years. Some people actually do that. I don't understand why, but it's anyway. Now, if you buy a property that maybe gives you a 6% return and you similarly reinvest, then after 20 years, you would have maybe 320,000. And that's not counting the capital appreciation because we don't know how much it is. That is on top of that. But I'm teaching you compounding here and leverage. Now, because of the compounding, the curve always gets steeper and steeper towards the end, which is the power of compounding. But now, if you add the power of leverage to that, look what happens. So the $100,000, I don't buy one property, I buy 4. No. I pay 25,000 down for each and take 75,000 loan for each. In my life class, I always ask people, what do you think, how much you get after 20 years if you leverage and compound these $100,000? But here in the webinar is a bit difficult, so I'll just give you the answer. It's 1.6 million. Don't fall off your chair. It's true. Now, let's say you cannot always reinvest and maybe you cannot 75% leverage, but less, and you only get half of that. Then it's still 800,000 compared to your unleveraged property, which only gives you 320,000. That's the power of leverage. You put it all into one graph, you just see visually what it looks like. That's why even if you have full cash, you should not pay your properties full cash. You should still leverage it because then you can buy 2 or 3 and you got double or triple the return plus capital appreciation as well, right? So leverage is a very powerful tool if you know how to use it correctly. Don't over leverage, right? I mean, this happened to some people in the US. They borrowed 120% of their property and then the price went down, which is one of the reasons that caused the global financial crisis 12 years ago. So don't over leverage, but sensibly leverage, definitely yes. So I can teach you where's the right level and all this in my class if you choose to attend, but just take that, right? So if you already own property, let's say, in the future you will, even if you don't right now, but I'll just explain the process to you here now. You have property worth 1 million and you have an outstanding loan from the past you took, which is still 140,000 outstanding loan. So I have to introduce this term to you. It's called equity. The equity is basically the net value of your asset minus your liability. So asset is 1 million, liability 140K, which leaves you with equity of 860K for this particular property. And what a lot of investors do with that is nothing. They just leave it there, right? But you have a gold mine here, ladies and gentlemen, a gold mine. What you do is, and every bank in every country I know is happy to give you an equity loan because you have 860,000 equity here. So what you can do is ask your bank for an equity loan. With the equity loan, you can either take a second loan or you can kill, depends on the situation, what is better in the kind of interest, in terms of regulations. Like in Singapore, the second mortgage, for example, is quite low. But in UK, you can take 100 mortgages. You always get 70%, no problem. So you take an equity loan of 75%, so 750,000. You kill off your first mortgage, 140. So you still get cash, 610,000 from the bank. Now you still own your property. That's why I say sell without selling, because you haven't sold it, you still have it. But now you got $600,000 in your pocket. Less maybe some admin costs for a lawyer. Let's say 600,000. Yeah? You have 600,000 in your pocket. What do you do with 600,000 in your pocket? Buy the next one. Yes. Right. So if your interest rate is 3%, as I said, is high, conservative, in reality is lower, your interest cost is 1,875 per month. You take the 600 for the next property. Let's say you get 6% rental yield, which is 3,000 per month, minus your financing cost of 1,875. You still got $1,125 extra in your pocket every month for doing nothing. Isn't it beautiful? That's how we scale. Plus, you get a second property that has potential for capital appreciation. And if you bought it below market value, then you have a profit from day one as well, right? That's how you can grow your portfolio over time. You can't do this every week, right? But over time you can. So I'll show you again, as always, a real example how I did it with my own money, with my own portfolio. It works like a charm. So I took on a property I had here in Singapore, took a second mortgage for 250,000, from which I bought this condo unit in Bangkok. Bangkok is another one of my favorite spots to invest, as you probably already realized, other than UK. For this unit here in a condo in Bangkok. My cost for the mortgage is about $900 per month. The rent is $1,200 per month, which means I have an extra cash flow in my pocket, $300 per month, for doing absolutely nothing. That's why I like passive income. You can scale it, you can increase it, and you only have to work once, right? I have to work once to find this property, to finance it, do the paperwork. But once it's done, this was a long time, a few years ago. I still get it today. I don't do anything. So, right, this is brilliant strategies. Some people, they always ask me as well, hey, what if I make a mistake? Well, I will give you this ebook, the 47 biggest mistakes made by property investors and how to avoid them, right? So you don't make costly mistakes as part of the program if you decide to get it, right? So a lot of people have fear. They're afraid. I always say fear is false evidence appearing real. F-E-A-R, fear. Because it's not real, it's just in your mind, right? So just let me show you briefly this clip. It's very short. The original version on YouTube is like 7 or 8 minutes. I don't want to show it, but it just gives a brilliant example of fear and what if you change your thinking about fear. Enjoy. This guy is our car salesman.
Power door locks, standard, of course. You are liable for any damages to the vehicle, so please stop the car, or at least slow down. Slow down. Slow down. You can't go through that gate, Mike. Stop! 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 Oh, God Almighty! Yeah! Where the f*** do you think you are?
What do you mean?
I'm calling the cops.
No, no, you don't understand. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. No, it's just a prank. We're just having fun. Look, this is a camera. Here's a camera. There's cameras. Look, it was all just fun. Look, I'm Jeff Gordon. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Can we do it again?
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right, so this car salesman has great fear because he thinks this guy cannot drive a car. But once he finds out it's Jeff Gordon, who is a professional race driver, very well known in the US, he drives NASDAQ races, then suddenly his fear changes to joy and says, can we do it again? Because now he knows he's safe. This is a, from my view, brilliant perspective to show a lot of people that think, oh, this or that, and don't want to proceed with certain things in their life because they live in fear. But if you change your fear to joy, which can be done in a second, as you have seen in the clip just now, things are different, right? So don't let fear hold you back. Fear is not real, and you can scale your portfolio over time, as also Ryan
First of all, I want to
says.
say thanks, Johan, for having me here, and it's a really good program that I learned. I already invested a few properties right now, and I don't know what to do next step. So it's good for people that first-time investor or even second or third-time investor. You get to know how to invest for the first time and what to do next and next and next, and go on and to get more properties. And I think that is the most important thing to having the right method to do this thing.
And also Shirpan from Australia.
Tion, what did you learn from me today that impressed you the most?
Look, I learned a lot about you, Jochen, today. I think that you love to teach. I think I can see that when I talk to you, and I think that you have a lot of experience and knowledge that you're really keen to share. You do what you teach, so it's not like you're teaching from your actions and what you do yourself. It's not just book learning for you, so I think that's a really wonderful thing.
All right, so I've also shown you the proven technique number 3. I call it selling without selling, so it can generate more passive income. All right, so basically all these techniques follow my 3-step process, which is relatively simple on the high level at least. Research, that's what I spend most of my time with, researching into property opportunities, markets, different ways how we can make money. Once you have done research and you've narrowed down which area you want to invest in, which specific property you want to buy, then of course it's time to take action to requisite it, and then you reap the rewards forever. So simple 3-step process. And step number 4 in this process is, that's the best one, repeat. Just start all over again and do the same thing to scale up your portfolio, right? So as I mentioned earlier, all this, what I've shared with you, which is part of my program, is proven. It's not a theory. I've shown you my own property portfolios. It's easy. It works. That's the main thing. It gives you results, and anybody can do it, because there's nothing special about me. If I can do this, if a 77-year-old man can do it, if a 13-year-old kid can do it, surely anybody can do it. All right, so I've shown you the 3 proven techniques, how you can profit from property. I've explained to you what are the 3 crucial keys to your success in investing, and the simple 3-step process that you can follow. Right, so the 3 proven techniques were: buy below market value to make money when we buy, not when we sell. How you can do no money deals. That means no own money. Of course you need money, but you can use other people's money, not their own money. And selling without selling to generate passive income. So the 3 crucial keys to success, as a quick reminder, was finding the right mentor, knowing the right method, and having the right mindset. If all these three come together, you can and will be successful. The three-step process: research, requisite, reward. That is very fresh in the memory because it was there just now. So you might be asking, how can I do this, Jochen? So for those of you, if it's okay, how you can do it, I'll show for you. And you can decide for yourself then whether this is for you or not. Will it be okay? Yeah, early on you said it's okay. So I'll just take a few minutes to tell you about my class and what's inside there, that you can learn everything you need to know comprehensively from A to Z. And I don't like to actually really praise myself, but it's not my personality. But probably it is one of the most comprehensive property courses you will find, because a lot of them just teach you the techniques, the strategies, which I also do, 14 of them actually, but they forget about certain elements, which is equally important. Like risk management, we talked about it earlier, right? I have templates for that. I explain the process so you can minimize your risk and you don't need to be afraid. I show you all the fundamentals, all the different criteria you need to know to be successful, 14 different strategies, how you can build equity, how you can make your asset appreciate. Even if the market does not appreciate, even if the market is flat, you can increase the valuation of your property, how you can generate more passive income, how to find them, right? Some of you in the chat box type how to find these opportunities. I'll teach you a structured way how to do that, so you don't need to spend too much time in finding them. They will find you, but you need to know how to evaluate them, right? You get 10 different opportunities and you want to buy one, but which one, right? You have to know which one to be able to evaluate them against each other to find what is the best one out of these, let's say 10. How to buy, how to manage it later, right? I have creative financing techniques, not only the 5 ways without money, but also very, very creative techniques, how we can even make the seller of the property pay for his own property. It's amazing. And most importantly, as I mentioned, the mindset and psychology, which is also not present for many other courses that I know. They just teach you the basics. But this is actually module 1 in my course, because if you don't get psychology right, whatever you learn afterwards, you're not going to apply, and then it's honestly a waste of time. So I wanted to apply, wanted to succeed, I wanted to make money, like many of my other students did. So obviously we can't teach this in a classroom right now, but I have done it up as a online web-based learning, and also DVD version in case some people, like in Philippines also, where the internet is so slow that it's very difficult to watch a online training program, so they can also have the physical DVD, but most people prefer obviously the web version. So what's inside this Property Apprentice system, as I call it? And oh yeah, thanks for your question. Yes, the online version and the DVD are identical, exactly the same. Just one is digital, the other one physical. So in this system, the Property Apprentice system, which is an exact replica of my classroom course, 100%, you will discover how you can, 5 ways how you can profit from property, even if you don't have money or experience. I'll teach you the undervalued gold mine property method. We talked about undervalued earlier on, right? Below market value, how to find them, how to cash out without selling a property. That was technique number 3 in this webinar, selling without selling. I'll show you why property is a recession-proof business. Recession-proof means in good time it works, and in bad time it works. Actually, in bad time it works even better than in good times, but in good times it works quite well too. How you can ensure that you're profitable from day one, so that you're not exposed to unnecessary risk, right? How to avoid costly mistakes, and the proven formula to always get your properties at a discount, which is amazingly simple actually, but a lot of investors don't know about it. So this is what's inside the system here, that like I said, is identical to my classroom course, just minus the personal interaction, but I'm there for you. I'm always there for my student at no extra cost, basically for life. Some people who took my course 3 years ago, they still contact me occasionally. Some of them even have become friends. So because I want my students to succeed. So this system is for you if you have little or no experience. Perfect, it's on a beginner's level. If you have 100 properties already, probably not, but if you have property already, it's also okay. If you just not successful with it last time, you lost money, or you don't know how to scale up. You know, you got one property but stuck, don't know how to get a second one. Or if you're an employee or business owner who are too busy, right? The beauty of passive income is that it's passive. I know it sounds stupid, but that you don't have to work for it every month, right? It keeps coming. You have to work for it once until you have it, but once it's there, there's not very little to do. Okay, I'm gonna skip this right now. I spend only a few minutes per property per month because I let other people handle it. So it's not for you, honestly, if you're scared, if you don't like new things. If you're a person, I know such persons who prefer complaining or bitching about the situation, but they don't want to improve themselves, then this is not for you, right? Then you keep complaining or bitching if you want, that's up to you. Or if you're already bankrupt, then it doesn't really work so well also if you declare bankruptcy. But else, this should be for you. So what's included in the system? So firstly, all the training modules on video. These are 22 of them, training videos. Of course, all the 15 modules I showed you just now in that initial pictures. All of them are there. You can watch them as many times as you like. You can replay, you can fast forward, you can, at your own convenience, watch it again and again, so it really sinks in, which is actually better than in classroom, because in classroom I only say it once. You will get basically all the course slides from the live training class. You will get all the guides, like a location guide, all the help resources, like goal achievement guide, where you can define your goals and then have the process how to achieve them. You will get the workbook that in the live class also assists you, and you can utilize here in the online module as well as a PDF file you can download. And all the exercises that we do in live class are also there, so you can do them on your own. If you have any questions or issues, just shoot me an email and I'll be glad to assist you. So the system teaches you everything you need to know about property investing. It enables you to invest in any location of your choice. Right? It's not about UK or Thailand or Singapore or whatever. It can work anywhere. And most importantly, independently, right? You're not dependent on me being there. I'm glad to assist if you need it, but you can do it by yourself too. What I do, you can do it too. So essentially, it gives you a step-by-step guide how to generate passive income or one-time profit, right? If you want to buy and sell, you buy below market value and sell at market value, also fine. Then you have a one-time profit instead of a passive income. That's okay too. It's also included as some of the strategies in the system. Essentially, it empowers you to potentially become financially free if you do it long enough. It's not a get rich quick. These never work. If you hear that, run away quickly, right? But over time, it took me about 4 years after I got retrenched to fully replace my income. About 2 years, 2 to 3 years to become financially free. So all my bills was covered. And about another year or two to fully replace my active income with a passive one. So it's doable. It takes time. And you have to do it. Like I said, thinking about it doesn't work. Right, so these are the 15 modules of my system, all the things you need to know, strategies, financing, mindset, psychology, all in there. So basically, if you can do this, which means follow a process that is given to you and not reinvent the wheel, then you can do this, right? And you can avoid the costly mistake, right? You can, of course, try to save some money. It's almost as I'm really there. That's why I put myself into the slides sort of a little bit in the background. I'm not physically there, but I'm as good as there for you, virtually. Why so many people are buying my system? Basically, they realize it saves them a steep learning curve. They know how to avoid costly mistakes that could have cost them tens of thousands of dollars if they buy the wrong property. They just want to learn from somebody who's good and have the right mentor available. And understand the benefit of a repeatable, predictable, and profitable process. That's very important, right? You can repeat it many times. You can predict what's the outcome up front. And that's what we need to be successful. And they have realized that it's easy, they can do it, and it works. I hope I could prove that to you too, because many people, they want to build up their passive income and secure their financial future. It doesn't mean you have to give up your job or your business. It's actually brilliant if you still have it, because it's a lot easier to get a mortgage if you have an income than if you don't. And if you're afraid to lose your job soon, actually you should buy now while you still have it, rather than later if you don't, right? As simple as that. So in one short word, it's about getting results. Just one more quick case study from Ian from the UK.
I had the pleasure of spending time with Jochen and speaking about his passion, which is investing in Southeast Asia and the UK. He's described some wonderful business opportunities, investment opportunities in those areas, and I found him very knowledgeable. He has an extensive background in banking, which provides him with an extraordinary insight into the industry, financing, looking for opportunities, and making money for his customers or his clients. So I can only recommend that if you're interested in real estate investment, please talk to Jochen.
And if there are any people from Malaysia in this webinar here, you might know Kathleen To. She's actually a quite well-known options and stocks trainer in Malaysia. She also speaks for Success Resources, so she won't say something that, you know, is kind of not true. Or
He's very generous in sharing. He shared with me his real estate formula on how you can buy real estate with no money down. And he also have a good heart to share this principle with other people. And he also go beyond that. After leaving his corporate environment, he helped people. So I see that I can actually trust this person who has a good heart to share.
Right. So even at a full price of my system, this gives you massive value. You can make, if you implement it, obviously some people don't, and then I'm sad, but if you implement, you can make a good income, passive income from it. So my live course costs $2,500. People are happy to pay it because this money you can easily make back very quickly. But in live class, obviously I have to travel, I have to get a hotel, I have to find a nice venue, and I have to print materials. That's why the price is like that. Obviously online is not this price. But I'm 100% convinced that people are happy with it. That's why I give a satisfaction guarantee. If for whatever reason you don't like, you buy and you don't like it, you return it to me, I'll just refund you your money. That's it. So far it hasn't happened because everybody was happy. But if it ever happens, I know one day is going to be the first one, then I'll just give you the money back. Not a problem at all. Because this massive value you get from all these videos, from all the slides, all my resources, all the workbooks, all the exercise, I mean, it would be at least probably worth $5,000 or more. But the income potential, this I would say is priceless, right? You get all the knowledge, all the skills. And if you want, we can even potentially do deals in the future, but that one I cannot promise. It depends on the person. But you can do your own deals for sure, yeah, with other investors, with your network, with your friends. Totally doable, right? So financial freedom is priceless. So if all the system did was for you to just find the one property you buy below market value and save you $50,000 potentially, would that be worth it? Or if all it did was to enable you to easily do your own no money down deals, would that be worth it? If all the system did for you was to empower you to build up a stream of monthly passive income in your bank account that keeps coming and coming and coming, basically forever, would that be worth it? If all the system did was build up a skill set for you that constantly enables you to leverage on money, would that be worth it? If you could find the right mentor to guide you, would that be worth it? If all it did was give you the proven methods and tools to make this work for you, would that be worth it? And if all this did was to tune your mindset for greater success, would that be worth it? And that's not only applicable for property, that's even in your relationship too, right? Mindset is key. So I have two choices now basically. I can either charge the full price, so make more money, but honestly, yeah, I like money, but a few $100s in my account don't make a huge difference to me. Or I could go as low as possible so I can help more people succeed and generate passive income. So I was wondering, which one should I do? Tell me in a chat box, you want A or B? No, it's a stupid question. Okay, everyone says B. Okay, obviously yes. So that's what I figured, and that's what I'm doing. Right, so the live class is, like I said, 2005. The value at least 5,000 or more. You get a satisfaction guarantee, means no risk. You get all modules for my live class, from fundamentals to creative finance, managing a risk, psychology, mindsets, foreign strategies, how to make everything. And because it's online, it's only $997. That's US dollars, because this is sold globally. So I take US dollars as the currency. The number one mistake that I see people make is this. Now they think, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out myself first. Maybe later I will join. Well, firstly, later usually becomes never. Right? Either you do or you don't. Either way, it's fine. But later, usually, if people do later, means they do nothing. And if you try to save $1,000 or whatever, I mean, you're just shooting your own foot, really, because you're missing out on so much. And a free video on YouTube can teach you one thing or another, but it's just missing too many pieces, right? And like I said, later becomes never. At the bottom of my presentation, this is my own quote that I always say: procrastination leads to no destination, right? If you always say tomorrow, 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 you look probably as lost as this person here in the fog and not going anywhere. So don't procrastinate. So you have three options: procrastinate, shoot your own foot, or join my system. Either way, you will still pay. Either you pay the market if you shoot your own foot because you buy the wrong property, or you pay your financial future because you're broken asset and do nothing. Well, at least you didn't shoot your own foot. Or you pay a little bit to me to learn, and I'm there for you, like I said, in terms of support going forward as well. So because you're here and because you stayed to the end of the webinar, at 997 you can get it anytime you want. It's on my website. Somebody who doesn't know me, doesn't attend the webinar, can buy it for 997 any all day long. But because you stayed, I would like to give you a very special offer, which is the absolute best possible price I can and ever will give is $497 only. Actually, it's a bit crazy for this low price, but it's okay. I would like to help more people, and with this small investment, I think it's totally affordable for anybody and everybody. On top of that, you have 100% satisfaction guarantee, so no risk. You look at it, you think it's not good for whatever reason, I'll just give you your money back, right? I don't want any complaints, or like I said, next time I'll ask people to go to Google and then say, yeah, this guy no good. No, I'll just give you your money back. But it's so far never happened, I tell you, because it's really good. So
hi, this is Jochen. I'm here in Yangon
in my life
teaching my
class, even
property
after
investing
I taught
class.
them, I offer their money back.
How many of you have learned some good stuff this morning already? Raise your hand.
Yes.
How many enjoyed the seminar? Raise your hand. Okay. Anybody who thinks this is no good and wants to go home and miss everything that would have made all the difference in your life and you get your money back? Anybody wants? No. You want to stay here and learn more? Yes. Are you excited about it? Yes. All right. Thank you.
All right, so even after I taught them and I offered their money back, nobody wants it because it's good and I can't take the knowledge out of their head anymore, right? They've already learned it. But so I'm very convinced that you're going to like it too if you decide to proceed. So here's the link now where you can get the system for the half price, like I mentioned, $497. You can either open a tab and either type in this long thing up here, www.propertyapprentice.com, TPA-system-half-price, or the Shorby link here below. I will type it into the chat box here as well, which brings you to the same page. It's just like a forwarding link. Let me do that right now. So for those of you who want to join, then you can copy paste it from the chat box here as well. Just give me a second. I'm just typing it now. Okay, here you, oops, sorry, that went only to one person. My apologies. I will do that again for everybody. Wrong again. Sorry. This is system. Okay, there you go. It's the correct link. So if you want to get the system for $497 only, because you attended my webinar, that is the link you can follow. And what happens next is that I will get a notification from PayPal, so your payment is 100% secured by PayPal, that you have bought my system. I then have to manually set up login for you, which is your email address, and you will get sent a password how to log in. So the instruction will be in the email. So if you decide to join, then please look at your email. And in case you can't find it, then also check the spam folder. Sometimes because you don't have me in your address book, it can happen that it ends up in the wrong folder. It comes from Jochen at thepropertyapprentice.com. It's my email address. Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah, thank you too. So, a couple of quotes. I skipped that part, but I like this one from Derek Bock, Harvard president. If you think education is expensive, just try ignorance. Or simple free investment advice can cost you a fortune. So there's a number of questions that people always ask me, so I put together a very quick FAQ. It's only 2 or 3 slides. Is it easy? Yes. Show this to you is very easy, and I explain things in simple terms. Can I do it? Yeah. If a 13-year-old child or 70-year-old man with no money and experience can do it, anybody can do it too. And it works. I've proven it to you. I've shown you case studies. How fast do I need to complete it? That's up to you. Some of the students do it in 2 or 3 days. Others take 2 or 3 weeks. Some take 2 months. It's really up to you. And you can do it again and again at your own convenience. Can you buy it later? Yes, like I mentioned, at full price you can. What if I don't have enough money to buy a property? Most people don't. Right? That's exactly why I put the system up, and there's 5 methods how to buy it with little money. Is it too risky? No, there is risk, but I'll teach you how to manage it. Is the time right now? Well, the market, the economy might be bad, but the bad economy is the best time to buy property actually. Well, and what if I'm too busy? I like that one. You're too busy to make money? Well, then you must be rich already, right? Can I get any more discount? No. I already gave you the best price, already gave you 50% of my online class, which is only 500 out of 2005, is 20%, or 80% discount from the live class. So that's really the best I can give you. But what I can give, would like to give you, is some bonus, some extra gifts. Right? So if you get my system, you get these 3 ebooks, the one I mentioned earlier, the 47 biggest mistakes that investors make, and the other 2 are about mindset. After you've done all the lessons, you can get a 1-hour consultation directly with me. We can set it up by Zoom. Or if you happen to be in Singapore, I'm also happy to meet you in person. But if you're outside of Singapore, then we have to do it on Zoom. You can also book me for consultation later if you want at $500 an hour, but I will give it for you for free if you buy a system. I also have a mentorship program on a one-to-one basis, which I won't discuss here now, but you get a $1,000 voucher for the program along with the system in case in the future. But first you need to complete the system before we ever discuss this. So here's not the right time now. And you also get these property investing declarations, which help you train your own mindset for success. And these are priceless and they're not for sale, only as part of the program. So final word from Chuck Hires from the USA.
Hey, my name is Chuck Hires, and if you are looking to retire wealthy, there's only one way. All the wealthy people in the world, everybody I know, has done it through real estate. I've been a real estate broker since 1993, and I just listened to Johan's speech, and he's absolutely 100% dead on. If you want to retire properly, you need to get with Johan and get in his program. Let him become your mentor.
Okay, so for you, it's now time to take action. Right, so as Tony said, copy, paste. I'm very glad if you copy what I'm doing and take action. So like Thomas Roosevelt said, in a moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. But the worst thing to do is nothing. Right? Because if you do nothing, nothing will happen. Procrastination leads to no destination. So final word is from Bill Gates. If you're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault, because you could have done something in between. Right, so with that, we come to the end. Once again, I'll show you the link here in case you didn't get it earlier on. This is the last slide. I really thank you for staying all the way until the end. I hope I gave you good value, good content. I know the time I overwent a little bit. I apologize for that, and sincerely thank you to stay until the end anyway. So if you have any questions, I think now we overrun the time already, but you can feel free to contact me offline, and I hope some of you will take action and get the system. I also promised you a way how you can get a free copy of my book. The link is here, thepropertyapprentice.com/free book. You only have to pay for the shipping, but the book is free. And just put your details in there if you want to get that one. But of course, the system is 10 times more powerful than just owning a book. So thank you very much. From wherever in the world you're joining here right now, I wish you a good afternoon, evening, or perhaps even morning. I don't know what time it is in your time zone right now. But for this webinar, we have come to the end. I wish you all the best of success. Even if you don't join my system, it's fine. But I hope you do, and I hope that I can really help you to generate passive income or one-time profits, and you become one of my successful students. And if you do, please stay in touch with me, show me your success. I'm very happy. Okay, so thank you.